Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
Hello everybody out there in YouTube land, this is your t-shirted historian, and welcome to another Week in Geek. As you can probably hear, I've been fighting allergies all week, and my voice is kind of rough, so don't know how long it'll last tonight, but I'm going to do what I can, hopefully with some help from my awesome panel. How you doing, guys?
I'm good.
I'm pretty good.
Worst things
All right.
see.
All right. We had a bunch of stuff we didn't get to go over last week because it's just, there was a whole lot going on. We had a guest who was kind of unexpected, and it was a good video. I mean, it was good overall. I think 3 hours. It's like even Grim stayed for the whole 3, so I think he was enjoying himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also drunk.
That too. Oh God, that was funny. But let's see. I've got a few interesting things to bring up. Obviously, the latest news is that Henry Cavill is deciding to bump out of the Witcher TV series after season 3, and he's going to be replaced by Luke Hemsworth, who is
Liam, I think it was.
Liam, who is he's the youngest of all the Hemsworths. There's 3 of them, I haven't really seen him in anything, so I couldn't tell you if he's good or not, but the fact that Henry's not going to be in the role anymore really kind of kicks it in the balls for me.
He was the only good part of that show.
Yeah, I agree. He was.
So I wonder what they're gonna do now with him gone. Are they just gonna they're just gonna go on with the new actor playing Geralt?
Yeah.
Or are they gonna?
No, I think he's still going to be Geralt. It's just going to be a different guy in the costume. I don't know.
Did Cav quit of his own volition, or was he fired?
Hey, Magitech. My understanding is that he probably quit because he was, contracting to go to DC as Superman again. So maybe he wouldn't have time.
I hope he made them grovel. Kneel before Cavill.
Kneel before Cavill, yeah. I like the Witcher series. I mean, yeah, it's not, it's not faithful to the books. It's everybody can point their fingers and say, oh, it's this and that. But honestly, the moments that Cavill is on screen as Geralt is what I really was looking forward to in the show, and that's kind of what kept me watching it.
Well, it's supposed to be The Witcher now, not the Yennefer show. So that was like the biggest problem.
I have to admit, every time Yennefer came on, I found reason to either go take a leak or go get a snack or just something else. I really had no interest in that character at all. But
she's great in the games, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, she's great in the games, but and then of course, the news that most of the people writing that show are not fans of the games or the books. And I'm just kind of like,
that explains that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the way they do it these days. Like the people that made the Halo TV series, they never even played the games or read the books or anything. And I'm pretty sure they just took some old script from some other show and just slapped Halo on top of it because that show made no sense.
Well, okay. One of my friends, a fellow YouTuber, actually, a really good guy, Script Doctor, clued me in on this. The reason why you're seeing a lot of IPs that have writers on it who have either never been a fan of the IP, never read the IP, know nothing about the IP, but are writing for that IP, is quite simply because the feeling in Hollywood is like, let's say, Grim is a really big fan of what are you a big fan of, Grim? What show do you really watch?
Alcohol.
Week in Geek.
No,
I
that.
I don't actually drink that much. It's just this show drives me to drink. I don't know. Films: Big Trouble in Little China, Flash Gordon, love those.
Okay. Well, let's say that we're going to do another Flash Gordon series. I mean, the last Flash Gordon TV series was.
Okay, I'm already furious.
Yeah. All right. Okay. But let's say you were a script writer or whatever, and you were a really big, huge fan of the Flash Gordon series. You know, you had you watched all the old serials. You know, you read all the old comics, and big fan of the movie, everything, right? You go into the Hollywood directors thing, and they interview you for the script writing job, and one of the first things they ask you is, well, do you have any connection with Flash Gordon? Have you read any of the books and the comics or anything like that? And you tell them, yeah, sure I have. I love it. And this, and this. And you start quoting something. They'll be like, thank you. We'll be in touch. Later on, you get a call. Sorry, we can't use you. And the reason behind that is because they feel that if you are already a fan of or already tied up with a property, that you will not be amenable to making changes and alterations to the storyline, characters, and everything else that may or may not be needed or warranted,
Right.
In order to make the show happen.
So but there's a degree of professionalism in that that you're going in there to do a job, right? Balanced with ideally you do want people with knowledge of whatever property it is you're developing, because you would need that consistency and authenticity. But I have worked with people who have been fans of things who have been insufferable, so I can kind of understand that side of things.
Well, the way they used to handle this, they would just get advisors. Like, if you make an action movie, you get, like, a soldier to advise you on, like, weapons and stuff like that. You don't have to, like, be, like, former SAS yourself. You just get, like, Andy McNabb or somebody to, like... That's what they did with Heat, like, movies like that. But, yeah, you could do that with, like, franchises like this. But they don't even try. They just...
Well, they fired the advisor on Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And how did that work out?
Yeah, and it's pretty obvious from watching that show, that nobody on that show knew anything about Tolkien, were fans of Tolkien, or anything. So, and this is what you get. I mean, and that's why they're all fail. I mean, I'm pretty sure none of the people who were involved with the Resident Evil Netflix series were fans of the game, or if they were, they, really didn't show it, did they? Because that one stank on ice.
Yeah.
I've actually been enjoying Lower Decks against my better judgment.
Oh.
Even though it's kind of a weirdly adult and kind of Rick and Morty take on Star Trek. But there does seem to be some respect for the old lore.
Wasn't it that they actually did pick up some Rick and Morty writers for that?
Probably.
Not always a good thing. I mean, remember...
It's also a cartoon, so it's a little bit easier to forgive. You can just see it as like a Saturday morning cartoon type thing, so yeah.
And to me, it feels like I'm watching a bunch of gamers play Star Trek.
Yeah.
Right? A bunch of role-playing gamers play Star Trek. It's actually been quite fun. First season, not so much, but the other ones.
Isn't it also like all like original characters and stuff like that? It's not like, oh, here's Picard and now he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly, but like Riker shows up in some, and Quark's in the last episode I watched. Things like that. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, time will tell what's happening. According to Midnight's Edge and our buddy Andre over there, She-Hulk apparently did not chart top 10 in the Nielsen's. What is it? Andor did not chart top 10 in the Nielsen's. Strangely enough, I looked at the Nielsen's earlier this week, and it looked like Rings of Power was actually one number ahead of House of the Dragon, which puzzled me, but I don't know.
Aren't those Nielsen ratings also a couple weeks behind?
They might be. I don't know exactly how close to time they are.
They used to think if they still are.
I think there's a real sense of fatigue with stuff like that too. Plus, when you look at Twitter, at least, you never really see the true nerds talking about stuff like this, unless they're hating on it. It's always some influencer, some fake TikTok girl who's like, "Oh, tonight's She-Hulk was awesome," and 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, that same type of girl would have called you a gross nerd for watching stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah.
It's fair enough. I am a gross nerd.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
of course, but
a lot of these shows are also just kind of your flavor of the week. And how
True.
many of these shows do you think people are going to go back to and talk about in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Meanwhile, we still talk about shows from like 30 years ago.
yes, we
Like
do.
we can have like 5-hour discussions about like Babylon 5, Next Generation, like all sorts
Mm-hmm.
of stuff. Yeah,
I'd be down just to talk about Married with Children.
yeah, same.
I didn't watch it enough to be able to do that, but Futurama I was a huge fan of.
Hmm.
Ash, what about you? Anything to say?
Not really. I haven't really been keeping up with like She-Hulk or As the Dragon or any of that stuff. I've been too inundated with uni stuff. But like in terms of like the point on talking about things for years to come, it all just depends on what you personally like. So for me, I love the Star Wars sequel films. I've been enjoying She-Hulk. I've been liking some of this new stuff. So for me, I'm going to be talking about it for years to come with other people that do like it. So I guess it just depends what you're into, really.
Are you at all familiar with any of the previous She-Hulk comics by chance?
No, I'm not.
And I think that's where the big disconnect for a lot of people are, because for many people they do have that familiarity with the earlier stuff.
Yeah.
I went back and I read the Savage She-Hulk, the Sensational She-Hulk. I went through and read a couple of those series. I was familiar with her from the comics.
Yeah. And I liked Byrne era She-Hulk too. It was fun and it was funny, but that's kind of one of those things that I guess doesn't really translate that well into television. I don't know.
Well, that's
I mean,
fair
they tried-
enough. Like, sorry, go ahead, Graham.
As I say, they tried the fourth wall breaking stuff, which was a big part of the comics, and it's worked for Deadpool. There's no reason it shouldn't have worked for She-Hulk. It's just I felt like they didn't really commit to any particular interpretation of She-Hulk. I haven't watched the whole thing, so.
Well, they also
I
turned
think-
it into like a pseudo-feminist screed, and rather than like
Yeah.
going with the comic She-Hulk, who's like very confident. She wants to be sexy. Like that's like a whole point. Like she turns from like kind of like a mosey like shy girl. It's like, oh, now I'm like a sexy Amazon. I'm gonna like relish in it. And like in the show, she's like, oh no, like being sexy is bad, and all these men catcall me. Like, okay.
Yeah, I that streak of misandry that was through that show really just kept me from wanting to engage with it at all, because I just felt like I was like, if you hate your audience to begin with, then why should I favor you with a watch? So
I couldn't really like it after that total dismissal of Bruce's pain and anguish. And
yeah,
control. That's not the conflict you want. The conflict you want is he sees it as a curse that he's had to come to terms with, and so on, and she sees it as a blessing that she wants to indulge, like you were saying. That didn't feel like it was there so much.
No. Yeah, that rubbed people the wrong way, like severely. Like we all watched the Hulk movies. Like he literally put a gun in his mouth. He like was chased by the government for years. He lost his parents. He lost his girl. Like all sorts of like trauma. He got kidnapped by aliens. Like, and then she's like, "Well, I get catcalled on the street, so I have it worse." Like, okay, well, whatever you say.
and not to put too fine a point on it, but there's a lot of guys out there. Some of our panelists, I'm not going to get like really, really specific, who have had to struggle with, suicidal ideation, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and all of these other things that, can negatively impact your mental health. And I think in a way, her dismissing that in Bruce's character also, since they are so laser focused on hitting men with everything, also kind of translated to all of the male audience who suffers from these same things as being dismissed as your problems don't matter, when they do.
And I think ultimately the failure there is on the writers. As much as we want to sit here and say this is terrible for the character, it's infinitely worse with to when you look to the writers, who just really came across like all they want to do is talk about about whether or not Captain America lost his virginity
Yeah.
in World War II.
And that's another thing I have a problem with too. It's like the tone is in such a weird place. It's like 1 minute, we're talking about people's pain and anguish and suffering and everything else, and then the next minute they're cracking a fart joke. I mean, seriously, come on now.
It should have just been Ellie McBeal, but like with superpowers basically. But like no, they just went into yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't some of this though around nostalgia? Isn't that changing because the way we consume media is changing? So like we grew up through media, right? It was on when it was on. It was out when it was out. You went to the cinema to see the film when it was in the cinema. Maybe later on, if you were lucky, you got to rent a video or something, right? And that took a while because video recorders were so bloody expensive. Whereas now people have got stuff on stream, or there's a huge back catalogue of DVDs and Blu-rays that aren't really that expensive anymore. So someone of, sorry to pick on Esh, but someone of Esh's generation, right, is consuming media in a very different way. I mean, we've talked about this with music before, how there aren't movements in music anymore, really. Mm-hmm. People are just picking and choosing from the entire back catalogue of everything going back to when we first started recording in reasonably high fidelity, right? So there's no musical movement. I just don't think there's that same zeitgeist to anything. It's all kind of a blur.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Esh, what do you think? Does that sound right to you?
Well, I'm deeply offended. Like, please say that. No, I agree with you. There is a complete different like take in terms of viewing and consuming content. Like I agree with like what we want to fight for in terms of my generation. It's like more socio-political stuff, like treat everyone equally, and so, I mean, that's a good thing and that's not a bad thing at all, but it's like there's a priority shift. So we're more, I'm guessing we're more like caring about each other and the people around us and the environment, things like that, where there's like entertainment, it's just there. I mean, we can consume it and we want to use them as platforms for messaging. And I mean, I suppose that's why Black Adam did so well, because there was just none of it. Whether you disagree with it, if you have something that has messaging in it, you can either agree or disagree. But if you have something that just has zero messaging at all and it's just a story and that's it, a story itself can be a message, but if it fits within the context of its own universe and content, then for me personally that message is fine. But if it's like, okay, we've got to think about the environment, or we've got to clean up the seas, or I mean, those are great causes, but I personally think entertainment isn't the place for those conversations. An argument can be had, say it is, because it's not going to be talked about anywhere else. I mean, again, that's another argument because we've got people throwing soup on paintings, but yeah, I mean, it just comes to different generational differences. Like what was acceptable decades ago is now not acceptable or viewed differently, and some jokes that other people find okay, some people are like, okay, what the hell's going on? Like the in She-Hulk, the twerking that she did, or the talking about Captain America's virginity. I personally found that stupid shit funny, but other people didn't.
It might have been
twerking
funny.
was the most She-Hulk thing she did in the whole series, actually.
True.
Well, the problem people had with it is it went completely counter to what she was saying before. Her little screed against Bruce about being catcalled and being sexualized and all that stuff, and then they put all these like jokes in there where she sexualizes herself or she sexualizes other people.
But then, if we really want to get down that socio-political conversation, it all comes down to owning what she does with her own sexuality. So she twerks herself, not someone tells her to twerk for them, for example. So it's like getting catcalled versus owning yourself and looking yourself because you chose to do so. So there's two completely different scenarios. If we go down that socio-political, but
so
sorry, go on.
so with the catcalling, I think the classic She-Hulk would have responded to that, with that, that's brave of you, but I like this. This makes me feel good, and you can't possibly hurt me, So it's kind of a female power fantasy in being able to use your sexuality to control and influence people and draw attention, but at the same time not being vulnerable.
I'm kind of tired of upper class New York white women acting like the victims. It's like you work at a high-powered law office. You probably graduated from Harvard. Like you're not a victim. You're like in the 1%. Shut up.
Your accent made it sound like you said graduated from Harvard, and that would be even scary.
Effort from the SAS.
Well, everyone has their own demons,
Those
so
damn
maybe
hobbits.
that upper class white girl from New York has her own shit to go through.
Everyone has their own demons, but that's not how they treat it. They treat it as like their demons are at a higher level than our demons, or quote unquote. That's why she dismissed Bruce. She wasn't like, well, no, I know, Bruce, you had your own struggles and I respect that, but I also have struggles. No, she literally said like, oh, you don't know what it's like to be angry all the time because I get catcalled. I'm worried that I'm being murdered. It's like he literally got hunted by the government for years. He like had to live in like the third world, like hiding. Just
Their pain and suffering is so
that-
much more worse.
That dismissal of Bruce's backstory, that's something I took an issue with as well, because I've seen those previous I haven't read the Hulk comics, but I've seen the previous films, and we already know what Bruce as a character has already been through up until this point. So knowing all that, like the fact that they basically just threw Bruce's history and just pushed it aside to push She-Hulk in as this new, bigger, better thing. Yes, she's got her own issues. Yes, she's going to talk about those issues. And we can have a whole other stream discussing whether those issues are valid or invalid. That's another thing entirely. But yes, they have their own issues. But the fact that they, in my opinion, treated Bruce's issues and just pushed those aside, I disagree with how they handle that.
I also have like personal experience with that. Like, they talk about catcalling, and obviously catcalling is bad. I'm not saying like go out and catcall women, but I've told stories on Twitter how I had like a knife put to my throat just like while I was outside. I've been assaulted on the street like randomly by like groups of people. Like I've mentioned those stories on Twitter, and I've literally had feminists like be like, "Oh yeah, no, whatever. You're just a guy. Like I don't give a shit." So,
quiet man.
Yeah.
I feel like what's missing is the art of storytelling, right? If you want to tell a story about outsiders, do something like the X-Men. Yeah.
Well, the problem is that requires talent, and they apparently can't afford talent in Hollywood.
Being a mutant is a great stand-in for all these other things they want to do. You can have it as a stand-in for race. So if someone's feeling racially marginalised, they can look at the X-Men and they can feel that. If they're gay and feel marginalised because of that, they can look at the X-Men and they can see that.
Yeah, God, bro.
But they don't do that anymore, right? They just explicitly make it about whatever subject, rather than using art and storytelling to bring people together and encourage empathy and tell a good story around it.
Oh, God.
Well, the problem is, though,
tell a good story. It'd be awful if they pulled that off without being politically charged. I mean, no one wants those.
Guard,
Well, it's like
I gotta
a
ask you
pain,
real quick. I'm gonna interject here for a second. Are those ear defenders to your left over there?
Do what now?
The pink things?
Oh no, this is my liquid resin mask.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, I don't pay. See, I don't pay full price for GW stuff, so I do it the old piratey way,
Cool. Okay. Nice.
You wouldn't prop a car, would you? Well, almost.
You were wanting to talk about paint.
Yeah, my throat's a mess. Awesome one. It is, but I'm sticking it out. I mean, it's Halloween Eve and all that kind of. So this is the weekend where everybody's going to be doing all that, and I regret not putting together something more festive related for this year. I did last year, but
Well, this is just our chance to talk now. So
yeah,
I've got a question for you guys. I think for the season of that, I think you guys might enjoy. What's your guys' favorite traditional classic, whatever you want to say, favorite Halloween monster?
Dracula.
Monster.
The hot ones. Does that count? Halloween monster. Like from the holiday, or simply the whole spooky atmosphere of it all?
I'd say for all the spooky stuff, even if it's just like something from one of the Universal monster movies, or you like goblins, or
Gardner's got a thing for Mothra. Everybody knows.
I like the way her antenna go bop bop when she fly through the air.
Shut up, Parrot Head.
Probably
Those are
Frankenstein's
pretty-
monster.
I got
Parrot head, do not recommend. Beaks are sharp.
because, like, in terms of favorite, or the one you hate the most? Because the one I hate the most is in the Godzilla movie. Remember they're in that giant trench with all the bugs. Those little tube things that were like eating that poor Scottish dude. alive.
Oh, the penis-looking monsters.
Yeah, those are my
those
least
are a
favorite.
real thing.
I know,
You know-
and well, because the worst part was when they went over his face, you could hear him screaming inside the little tube monster.
No-
Oh God, that was horrible.
Wasn't
Yeah.
that the King Kong movie?
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
King Kong
that's
movie.
King Kong
the old
movie.
King Kong movie, yeah. Well, you said Godzilla. I think,
Old?
but, yeah.
Oh, sorry, not
Yeah.
Godzilla.
Peter Jackson's King Kong. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
that scene was horrible.
What do you mean that
that-
scene is horrible?
No, I mean
That was-
horrible as in like terrifying.
Oh.
Like
Oh, it's
Yeah.
terrifying. Yeah, it was terrifying.
See, that was one of the quote unquote lost scenes from the original King Kong that Peter Jackson went and recreated, like with all the same sort of tools and that they would have had back in the 30s.
The fish one.
Well, the trench scene.
Yeah,
I'm trying
I'll
to-
be honest,
so-
man. I love that I love that Peter Jackson King Kong to death. I have the 3-hour version one, and I love that movie. I don't care what anybody says.
I lost. Well, here I am. So I found a picture of it, and I don't know what it's from, but I saw it and I loved the image. I give it to Ironcaster or T-shirt. I'm not sure who to give this to. 1 second here. I'll find you on
I can take it. Either way.
Who? Iron, okay, so put the Iron real quick. So this is monster. I don't know what movie it's from, right? But it looks so fucking cool. It's like a 4-legged horse elk thing, right? And its face is people, and it looks like I don't know what it's from. I've never even seen the movie.
Is
I
that
know
from Antlers?
Is those called Antlers? I'll put it's supposed to.
Isn't that the Jotun from?
I think
Yeah,
that
it's
is
the
Jotun
Jotun.
from that one movie.
Yeah.
With
Is
the
it? Okay.
hikers and yeah. That
See, I
movie
have
was
no-
creepy.
I have no idea what it is, but that's such a cool fucking monster design because there's one scene where like you can see like the arms hanging down. It's got like a couple of faces on it, and it looks so fucking cool.
Called The Ritual. It's about a bunch of American hikers, or I think they're American, that go hiking
The
in
Ritual.
Norway, and they basically get chased by like a Nordic creepy demigod thing.
Why
Yeah.
is it always Norway?
Because Norway's
Because-
creepy. Have you been to Norway? It's terrifying.
I want to
No,
go see
I
that.
eat.
Lutefisk. No, they don't even eat that.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
But
Wow.
yeah, like, that's one of my favorite ones.
I'm pretty sure my friend Toastubber eats that, and he's from Sweden. So
Well, Sweden's got hot blondes, so Norway has monsters. It's just how it works.
Sturstromug.
Sweden used to have hot blondes.
What do they have now?
Immigrants.
Oh, never mind.
Ah, too
He
soon.
went there. Greg, what's your favorite monster then?
It's not really Halloween related, but I'm always going to go back to Alien. H.R. Giger.
Oh, nice.
Scariest monster ever put to film, in my opinion.
Hey, that was a
Michael
horror
Myers.
movie.
Oh, yeah.
That was a
does
horror
Michael
movie.
Myers
since-
count as a monster?
Yes, he does.
Okay, then he's my favorite. I love Michael Myers.
You see,
Except in this
a
last
lot of-
movie, there was shit.
A lot of folks will always say that Aliens wasn't a horror. It's literally a sci-fi horror. Like you were in space, there was monsters.
Yeah.
There were
Aliens is a slasher movie.
It's a slasher movie.
Or not
What about
Aliens, Alien. Aliens
Corporate
is a
greed is the
Vietnam
real
movie.
monster.
Yeah.
What about Grim?
Grim.
I want to see Troll Hunter. Okay, I just haven't gotten it yet.
Hunter's
I'm
great, too.
sorry. I heard it's good though.
There's a Nordic
The
Christmas
goblin
movie
from
that-
Cat's Eye.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
That's pretty creepy, yeah.
Yeah, that was a little creepy bastard. Ash, what about you?
Oh, sorry.
I don't say I have a one in particular. I mean, the vampires from Twilight. No, I'm just kidding.
They're so sparkly and shiny.
Barkley.
I'd say just as a conceptual creature, just a vampire in general, because they're so depending on the literature and the interpretation, they can be taken so many ways, and just as like a blood sucking demon in its
True.
core of what it is just interesting and cool.
Okay, so next question. What movie has the best vampires or the coolest vampires?
Twilight, no,
Near Dark.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
Near Dark is
actually
good.
thinking. I like the Near Dark. I like the ones from 30 Days of Night because they're generally like messed up and creepy.
Oh, those things are scary.
Yeah. I
Oh.
like
I'd say either it's one of the Hammer films or Fright Night.
Yeah.
Fright Night was good too. All of them were good.
There was like a
Shadow of
period
the
of
Vampire.
time from like the 90s into like the early 2000s where every monster was just like opened its mouth really wide. Like they did that in The Mummy and like all these vampire movies.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
and it was
Show
like
off the
really
CG.
CGI.
The Vampires in the Strain were pretty good.
Yeah, they were good. I still like Bram Stoker's Dracula just because Dracula's so cool, and he's got so many different looks in that film. You know.
I like the puppet one. He count.
the one in the Let the Right One In was also pretty cool. They actually making a
Francis
show
is
of that now.
scary to a lot of people.
Puppet Master.
All right.
I like the one that makes the leeches.
When's the Nicolas Cage vampire movie coming out? Do y'all know?
No.
Because
I didn't even know they made one.
so Nicolas Cage is starring in a vampire movie, and it looked really good from what I saw in the stills. And it's Nicolas Cage as a vampire. How can you not like that? You know?
It's Nicolas Cage's Blade. He's got the fade
Looks
and
like-
everything.
Looks like it'll be in
Blade.
Yeah.
April.
So I got some fun stuff here. First off, I didn't get to show this last week, and I was very upset that I didn't get to show this last week. So for everybody who did not get to see this, I'm showing it this week.
Oh, a pirate's life is a wonderful life. They never bury your bones. But when it's all over, the Jolly Sea Rover drops in on his friend Davy Jones. Oh, his good friend Davy Jones.
Fair enough.
That's our buddy Raven CS McCracken, who Grim and I had.
Sea shanties. He's
yes,
releasing the McCracken.
Yes, we're releasing the McCracken. Yes, we had a chance to interview him over the summer, and he was a delightful guest. I loved him, and I game with him every week when I can because we're in a game together, and he is a hoot. I definitely recommend. If you just want to pick up a fun game, pick up Cinnabar. Grim has already pretty thoroughly reviewed it, so you could do worse, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll take a bit of work, but it's fun once you get past that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
What is this? Oh, this is the
Yeah.
exclusive photos of him as a
Yeah.
vampire?
So this is the one. So you see stills of Nicolas Cage in his Nosferatu get up, and it's just, I gotta watch it.
He
I
looks
just
like
have to.
the Barnabas Collins.
The guy from the Dark Shadows. whatever.
Shadows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also a good vampire movie, but
I really like the color comparison. I mean, this is just like a photo off the set, but I love the sort of crushed red velvet looking suit and how
The
pale he
cigar
looks.
suit.
His lips are blue.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
Did anyone
that.
watch the Rob Zombie Monsters yet?
No.
Rob
Not yet.
Monster.
Heard it's good though.
I'm curious about
Yeah.
the Wednesday, the Addams Family show.
Me too, actually.
Man, all these fucking reboots. Good lord.
Well, let's do a little bit of horror since it is the horror month. Apparently Konami has rediscovered two words that if you put them together, it gets everybody excited, and those two words are Silent
Pachinko machine.
Hill. No,
Oh,
Silent.
Hill.
Stop interrupting me, goddammit. I can't talk. I will turn all your mics off. Silent Hill. Silent Hill is they're very excited about because they're doing like about 15 different new projects with Silent Hill.
You
And-
rediscovered? You mean finally listen to the fans after all these years?
Yes,
Silent Hill 47. More silent, more hill.
No, it's actually we're not up to Silent Hill 47. Actually, they're redoing Part 2, which is my favorite Silent Hill and a lot of other
redoing
people's. Yeah,
Like
they're redoing it.
Like a complete retelling, or just updating graphics and all that?
It's probably just really going to be like updated graphics and stuff. But I don't know. Hey, let's take a look. Let's take a look.
Are
real
you
quick. And
sure
hello,
you want
thoughts.
Are you sure you want a remake of your favorite one in the current day?
I trust them.
It's a Japanese company though.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
not
a
the American.
Japanese company.
Trust is
Yeah.
a 5-letter word.
It is. Here we go.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Oh.
Yo. It's a cockroach.
Yes.
Oh, they're releasing Bad Mojo. Re-releasing Bad Mojo.
Yes.
Oh, that was a very obscure joke.
James Sunderland.
Detail on the skins looks great.
Yeah, it looks really good. Good graphics.
Could she really be here? Waiting
Looks-
for me?
He looks good, man. I mean, I still remember the old one.
Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago.
The old one, all 7 polygons, and doing her best.
It was PlayStation 2. It looked pretty good for what they were working with.
In my restless dreams, I see that town.
That looks like
Silent
in-game
Hill.
graphics right there.
Yeah.
And they brought Akira Yamaoka back, so I was just pissing myself with excitement when I found out.
Bluebird.
Yeah, Bluebird team. Bluebird team is a good team. Pyramid Head is back.
You are.
I've seen too many sexy cosplays of Pyramid Head to be scared anymore.
I know why I needed you.
There you go. Let me turn the sound down a little bit so you guys can talk over it. Yeah, that's him hiding in the closet.
It's all over now.
Pyramid Head is out there.
I feel that way every day.
Me too.
I don't need you anymore.
What, being in the closet?
That's in-game graphics there before, I think, with the nurse.
I don't really like his face.
It looks better than it used to.
I'm ready.
There's a touch of the young Liam Neeson to it.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's like they combine a young Liam Neeson with an old Liam Neeson.
Middle-aged Liam Neeson. Ah, there it is.
Pyramid Head.
Huh. Well, I guess it's good because it'll kind of reignite the Silent Hill love in the newer generation of gamers.
One can hope.
Yeah, one can hope. But I really hope it's good, man. I think it will be. I mean, even if all they do is a shot-for-shot remake of the original, it'll still be good. If they add more to it, it's probably going to be better.
Well, when the Japanese do it, it probably will be. When the Americans touch anything, they fucking ruin it. Let's be fair here.
Although I think Japanese companies are starting to get kind of hammered by American companies as far as the censorship and everything else. They just recently announced that Callisto Protocol will not be released in Japan because the violence is too much.
You violence is too much?
Yeah, and I actually watched some videos of Callisto Protocol's deaths. Apparently, they made so many different death scenes for your character. You can get killed in so many ways, and they're all horrible, but funny.
Well, to me, it's not like a selling point. Like, what's the issue here? I don't understand.
So,
I know,
So the
I just-
country that had stuff like Ichi the Killer, like all that stuff, like they're like, oh, it's too violent. Okay.
Yeah, and that's what kind of got me too. I'm kind of like, you guys produce the most violent shit that I ever saw, and all of a sudden this is too violent for you. What happened?
Yeah.
So
It shows her feet too violent. Can't do it.
What happened
We have
to you,
rules
Japan?
here,
You
sir.
used to be cool.
well, okay, and in everybody's defense, Brie Larson's feet are violently ill.
Those were a weapon.
They are.
That's why she's
Weaponized
called
feet.
Brie Larson toe cheese.
Ew.
Maybe Callisto Protocol has uncensored pubic hair, and that that.
Just can't do it, bro. Just can't do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Too risque.
We can't sell this to the Brazilians.
See, it always blew my mind when you see like a censored hentai cartoon and like the butthole's right there to expose to the world and like a single like digitized line. Like, what's going on here? What are you hiding? Like, why bother with this? I don't understand.
I don't know. It's their weird laws on.
Well, it
That's
gave us
prohibited.
tentacle porn, so you can't complain too much.
Yeah, that's the other thing that got me is like you guys put out Overfiend, but what you're doing now is too violent. But
It's just we can't do it. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah. Anyway, there was a lot of Silent Hill stuff that got released. I'm not going to show all of them because honestly, it's about 6 or 7 trailers. But this Silent Hill Ascension looked pretty interesting. I believe it's the same team that worked on Dead by Daylight.
Ah, Dead by
Which
Daylight.
I only just finally bought that, by the way.
It's
I know.
It's a good game. It's a really good game. I actually quite enjoyed Dead by Daylight.
I love Dead by Daylight, and Pyramid Head is in that one.
Yeah.
I just bought that DLC.
But
And Ash.
this looks like another multiplayer kind of I don't know, Dead by Daylight ish.
It's a Dead
team
by
game.
Daylight Fortnite.
It's a team game type thing. Don't know enough about it really. But yeah, there we go. Short trailer.
That's it? Oh, goodness.
Yeah, but see,
Oh, no.
behavior.
You see that
Bad-
right in the
bad-
middle there?
Bad robot. Yeah, I know. But behavior is part of it. That's why I think it's a team game because that's kind of what behavior does is
Yeah.
team games, and it says live, so it's going to be, multiplayer.
It's a live service game. Oh, great.
Well,
That's what we need.
that's not that's not the dirty word it used to be. I think.
Well, the ones who did make a dirty word, all their games died off because no one wanted to fucking play them.
If I
Right.
wanted to interact with other people, I'd go to the pub. It's not what games are for.
Well, you can't hunt down your friends at the pub as a tall, muscle mommy huntress, so you need some video games for something.
I mean, maybe you can.
Can
but,
too. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my dad.
Yeah.
I'll hunt my friends if I want to.
That is a sacred British tradition. I'll tell you.
Hunting your friends at the pub with an axe.
Dress
I
them up
just-
as a
I-
fox first, so it's nice and legal.
Yeah.
Can I get Dad with a
I
pack of
said
smokes
put
as a
on the
character?
fox ears now.
I don't remember what the deal was with this trailer, but I know I was interested enough in it to want to show it. But this is something called Silent Hill F.
F.
I have no idea why.
This is the hentai game.
No, no, it's not.
The F's-
Oh, yeah. Now I remember why. Because this is the
F's-
one that's set in the past.
The F stands for feet.
No, it doesn't. Just
Or Fukushima.
Watch. This is cool.
It's to pay respect.
Silent Hill.
Pay respect. Silent to the hero.
Hi.
Oh, the pipe. Nice.
Being chased by Carnage.
That looks more like some kind of corruption, like
Resident Evil.
kind of more like the plaguey stuff in Elden Ring, Scarlet Rot. Oh, and if you have any phobias about holes in people, this next thing will trigger you bad.
Don't worry, I've got X cards.
Okay, good. Show them.
Protect you.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, see, I have friends who actually freak out when I see that.
The flowers are nice.
Bees in them.
Fair enough.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
what the fuck?
Possible.
Oh, and here's the best part. Just listen, real quick. Just listen. They brought back the old Silent Hill 2 theme.
It looks like something like that would be written by that one manga artist who does like stuff like spirals and like those weird like body horror like mangas.
Junji Ito.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look like that, but it looks good though. It looks, I hope it's as horrible as it looks.
So
Gaijin
is
Scuba
now,
is going to have an hour-long video about the lore.
is now,
You guys
is
know
now
that
an
guy?
appropriate time to say that I haven't played any of the Silent Hills?
Oh my gosh, Ironcaster. Come on, stop disappointing me.
I'm
Or
not a
Resident
huge
Evil.
Silent Hill fan either.
You haven't played the Resident Evil games?
Like, no, I've always kind of wanted either wanted watching other people play them or
Let's plays, yeah.
yeah. And so it's like it's kind of easy to at least get them and not be the one with the controller in hand because fuck that. I'm not dealing with that giant baby.
Yeah, that giant baby sucked. I got to that part and it was very terrifying.
Oh, you guys.
Well, you see, if you find the coat hanger tool, it's a lot easier to deal with the baby than the game.
And I'm canceled. And my stream just got taken down. It's like, no.
No, why? They're left wing, they're pro abortion. So.
Well, actually, I do have on my desktop right now the original Resident Evil on Steam, and so I was thinking about playing that here in the next probably day or two to finally play that.
I don't think it's worth playing.
Join the cool kids. Finally
Which one?
play it.
Not the original first Resident Evil for PlayStation. The remake, though, that's worth playing.
Yeah, the remake is really good.
Well, I like the sort of B movie camp of the the original.
Yeah, that
much
was
better
fun.
than the later ones.
Yeah, that live action intro was great.
The later ones don't appeal to me because I want the campiness. I want the sort of jokiness of it all. Like you almost became a Jill sandwich.
You almost became a Jill sandwich. Yeah, I loved that game. I actually played the hell out of it to the point where I actually could get through the game in 3 hours and get the rocket launcher and all that stuff.
That's how I was with 2. I had ended up speed running that game by the time it was done.
Mm-hmm. I loved 2 also. Although I really loved 3, and that's one that never got enough love, I thought, because I thought it was actually more horrific in more ways.
I love 3, and I was really excited for the remake, especially after the remake of Resident Evil 2, which was awesome. And I figured, they're going to use this as a blueprint for, Nemesis, and it's going to be awesome. And then it was just completely disappointing. They cut out all these, these cool, what's the word? Cool scenes from, the original, so, yeah, it was awful. But they made some B team do it. They didn't even make the main team that actually made the second remake do it. It was just some
I thought that was a huge mistake because Resident Evil 3 was pretty much, it was like Resident Evil 3, the film footage.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not good. I was extremely disappointed with that one, and I really wanted it to be awesome because I always thought 3 was the Resident Evil that never got enough love.
I remember when I played the original, I was pretty young still, and the zombie noises scared me, so I always played with like the volume like really down. So one time I didn't notice that Nemesis was chasing me because I couldn't hear him. So I went into the safe room like half dead with like 3 bullets in my gun. I didn't have anything. So the moment I would step out of the safe room, he would just be there, just punching me to death, and I couldn't escape. So I had to like restart the whole game. It was awful.
Oh man. Yeah. Nemesis was probably one of the best Resident Evil things to ever chase you down. I mean, that stars all the time. That was creepy. He doesn't say it enough in Resident Evil 3 either. But anyway, it is what it is.
Aren't they remaking the remake of Resi 2?
What?
Make the remake.
Maybe they're doing VR.
Aren't they doing it again? I heard somewhere that it might be
4.
They're doing 4.
If it gets to the point where we're doing remakes of remakes, no, just stop.
We're gonna get there.
Garbo just sounded like Pokey Pig for a moment, and it made me laugh.
Yeah, that's what 4 TBIs sound like, friend. So,
Traumatic brain injuries. What the hell happened to you? You get hit in the head with a car or something?
I have one of those too. So
nah, the army got a hold of me for too long.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just legally dead for like too long.
Making fun of a disabled veteran. I see how it is.
We make fun of all kinds of people.
Oh well, but yeah. So sometimes I'll go to start a sentence, my brain will lock on a vowel, and I'll just repeat it like 4 times till it finally gets back. It's like someone pushing the gas on a truck and a tire skids. Burp, 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 burp. The brain's trying to catch you up to the fucking mouth. It's really annoying.
Oh, I feel you there. I've got like some ADHD stuff too, and sometimes my brain moves faster than my mouth. So
if you just take amphetamines, it fixes the problem, bro.
Yeah, right.
True of so many things.
Yeah.
Shorten your lifespan, but hey,
I gotta fix these beads in my teeth.
Yeah.
You know what's fix that right up? Amphetamines.
Yeah.
Now, I believe the new Resident Evil Village DLC dropped yesterday.
Yeah.
I have not played it yet. I plan to tomorrow probably, but
DLC.
My friend bought it, and I was literally watching her play it like live, literally right before I jumped onto the stream, and it looks very interesting.
It's supposed to be excellent.
What are they at?
Good. Well, it's a whole new chapter with a new character. So
you're playing the daughter of you're playing the daughter of the original character, and you get pulled into the way my friend explains. You get pulled into some weird dream world, and it's basically the mansion from the vampire chick, but there's like all these weird fungus stuff everywhere, and there's like weird fungus monster chasing you, and you have to like collect these plants, and it gives you like these powers to like basically like ward them off. So they like grab you, and you just like hold your hand in front of them, and like this glow comes out of your hand, and it like makes them stumble, and you can just like shoot them in the face, like stuff like that. I don't know. Look
the happy console gamer has a good review of it.
Cool. Well, I don't want to see the reviews or anything. I just want to play it and experience it for myself. But I can't do it until tomorrow. So
it feels like they kind of lost the. It kind of feels like they lost the track of things when they got off of using stars and the T virus, because it's like now we're on funguses, and does this really need to still be called Resident Evil?
Oh, the plot got lost super hardcore like 10 years ago, dude.
Oh yeah, but
they went so far off course.
They did. A lot of people really liked Resident Evil 7.
That's the only one I played.
I liked Resident Evil 7 as far as the design of how everything looked and how it sounded and all this. I loved all that stuff, but it seemed like the halfway point of the game, the second half of the game was done by the B team because it was boring. It felt repetitious. It was the same monster over and 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 over again. I hated the second half. It's like the whole first half of it where you're creeping through the mansion and trying to avoid Jack and trying to gear up and all that stuff is like this great, but the second half is just shit. Straight up.
It does seem like consistency has kind of fallen to the wayside for a lot of the you call it not really a franchise, but like a you know series, I guess, where you know in ye olden days of renting your game from the grocery store, it was, it was a bit more consistent, and now you get all these games just they start out great, and after like the first hour, it just fucking nosedives. Like
Yeah.
the only game I can think of that always held the same ish kind of quality was well fuck me, I forgot the name. You're the repair guy in space with like the guys who explode due to a virus and mutate and shit. What's it
Dead
called?
Space.
Dead Space.
Dead Space, thank you. So Dead Space kind of sort of always held the same kind of quality. The last game was like meh. They got a bit floaty on their main plot line with the giant space stone and alien magic shit. But at least it always held the same kind of vibe. It always was kind of spooky. There were fun jump scares. The game was fun. There was good shooting aspects. Horror. It was like going through like to me. It always seemed like this was like an interactive cinema experience. There's always things going on around you. Little creepy shit would happen. The baby nursery scene was the worst. Like, it still kind of fucks with me a little bit.
The baby monsters were horrible.
Yeah, and like the noise they made.
Uh-huh.
But they still held it all up. And then you can look at like Resident Evil, and you see like the sloth where they just lost a plot hardcore. And is it just like the amount of games they've had? It's like what 7 or 8 games now? Resident Evil 8 or 9 or 10 or some shit.
They're up to 8.
And then there's all these
is-
side games too.
Well, at first it was like the there was a T virus, right? It was zombies. Then it was a bacteria. Then an infection. Then like
okay.
it's always a different thing.
Resident Evil is kind of my bailiwick because I started with the very first game and I've been a huge fan of it ever since. But the first 3 Resident Evils are all okay. The first Resident Evil is T virus. Resident Evil 2 is G virus. Resident Evil 3 is also T virus and G virus. Resident Evil 4 is Las Plagas Parasite. Resident Evil 5 is Las Plagas Parasite, and I forget what else. And
Ouroboros.
yeah, and 6. We just don't talk about 6.
I would say the big turning point, and I think long term was a mistake. Resident Evil 4.
I kind of agree. Although I love Resident Evil 4 as a game, I think they strayed too far.
Because once that game came in and all the action stuff where it changed the way the game played, that was when you sort of got away from some of the original ideas of the first games.
Yeah, it became more of an action shooter and less of a survival horror.
Exactly.
And I don't know, 7 and 8 are fungus monster things.
Fungi.
with other kinds of viri.
And they try to work in some of the more classic monster tropes of we have a big vampire, we have werewolves. It's like, where's this franchise going to go next now? Because is it just going to be all about fungus? Like, am I going to have to avoid mushrooms on my pizza now?
Yeah.
Yes, you should do that anyway.
Never.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're running out of ideas, or maybe they're just trying really hard to take it in directions they never had before. Maybe that's why they're remaking so much of it.
Well, I mean,
they tried to
go ahead.
They tried to loosely connect everything because Quiz is still in like the new ones and all that stuff. But yeah, they definitely lost the plot a little. But then they do like the animated movies, and it's still all about like the T virus, like all the classic stuff that people actually like. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you would think if they can't, if they realize they've tapped the well and they have nothing left, they could like half their stories would have been better with different characters. But they try and bring in they try and hook in the old audience with the names they know, and they try and just they're dragging this horse till there's nothing left of there's a carcass left and a neck and a noose. Like they just keep dragging this thing along. And there's nothing wrong with simply going, you know what, we played it out, time for a new story. Like have your all these different like viruses, they all could have been their own different stories, but they keep trying to combine them and keep them all wrapped up in the same, I guess, trademark,
Different.
yeah.
could have different companies, different sources,
Yeah.
like a zoonotic
Yeah.
virus or something.
Like
Was
Umbrella is really fucking busy apparently.
Yeah.
Like, good
Yeah.
lord.
wasn't there something about a Parasite Eve remake?
I
Oh.
I've vaguely heard of it, but I don't recall. I would like that to happen because Parasite Eve was good.
My guess is it was probably just news of them renewing the trademarks because they got to do that every few years, and every time that happens, it always winds up kind of breaking some news of, this made some news and of renewing the trademark. But which is unfortunately not all companies are going to be like Konami and suddenly remember they have more than 2 franchises.
Yeah. Yeah,
See,
I
I
kind of wonder when they'll remember to put together the word Castlevania again.
Yeah. See, I think it'd be a good idea for these guys to sell this like to not renew their trademarks, sell them off. You know what? Like kind of like Pat's baton. You know what? We had our time. Now you do something. Because it's just. I mean, it could be that could be good, sure, but like they just keep running these things into the fucking ground.
Well, I think I'd rather have the parent company that created these franchises to run them into the ground than for them to get picked up by third-party studios, because that's when you end up with Harvey Weinstein's Hellraiser 8 and 7 and 6.
Harvey Weinstein.
I would also point out Super Mario with that in mind.
Yeah.
Well, like
You guys mentioned
Like,
Konami.
if Nintendo were to do that, for example, and give up the copyright on Mario or let other people use it, I don't think you would get quite that Nintendo quality. So I see reasons to do it, but I'm kind of against it as an idea.
You guys mentioned Konami. They make more money doing pachinko stuff these days than like with the video games. That's why we haven't had like a new Metal Gear, like all that stuff. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Pachinko first, then probably Yu-Gi-Oh second, because trading cards.
Definitely. Also, licensing your shit out to third-party companies is kind of like how you end up with. Let me see, what do we got over here? Let's see, an Evil Dead remake that was garbage. Various
Almost
other things.
Every Warhammer 40,000 game tie-in.
You could just, like sell wisely, not to the first fucking bidder. You know,
That's not how that works.
Dogtide is awesome. I played the beta. Dogtide is like probably one of the first like 40k games that's actually great.
I've heard
it
good
catches
things
the
about
vibe
it,
really
yeah.
well. Yeah,
Like,
the vibe is like perfect. It has like the perfect music. Like it's awesome.
Okay. I have a perfect example for you, and it leads into our next thing. Licensing your stuff out to third-party companies and getting it bought out by other people is how you end up with things like Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition and 4th edition and 5th edition.
In D&D 1 D&D to rule them all.
Yeah. Wow. I'm so excited for that.
Well, it's Sturgeon's law, isn't it? 90% of
you will
anything is
own
crap.
nothing. You will own nothing. You'll be happy. No book for you. Just PDFs that you gotta still pay for.
Yeah. But before I segue into that, I do want to show something off that I think is cool, and it's coming up. I don't know where you buy them yet. I'm going to start looking into that, but I don't get to talk miniature shop very much. And Kringay is not around to appreciate it. But
Wait,
can I
he
share a
appreciates
screen for a
things?
minute?
That's
What?
the first. He appreciates things. That's the first.
He does. He likes some things.
I need to
This-
hire some young kid and pay him minimum wage to paint the thousands of miniatures I have in boxes downstairs that I'm never going to get to.
Well, Thoth, this might be an option for you. Vallejo, the paint company, has come out with this new product called Express Color, and they are repackaging their paints. But yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
About time.
so they're going to have game color. The bottles are new. They have a new plastic that is more transparent, and they also have these. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah, a little red line there.
Okay, good. Yeah, these little red lines, these are seals that you actually have to break. So the paints come sealed. The tips are better made so that they don't split.
Just
Ladies.
Yeah, just the tip. And as you can see, they have like special effects. fluo, the ink, the regular game
So-
colors, the metallics, the express,
Do you-
and the
Do
washes.
you know if their inks are now because remember back in the day, their inks were not up to snuff against like known oil or the dark wash from Citadel and Army Painter. Have they finally gotten their formula down right? Do you know, or is it still?
That's a
I
good question.
I don't know if the newer ones are, but this express color is their answer to
contrast paints.
contrast paints
Yep.
and speed paint and all that other stuff. And the very first question that anybody wants to know is this stuff going to reactivate like express paint? No, it doesn't. Or like speed paint, it doesn't.
Well, the other
not
thing is that
surprising.
with Citadel quick paints, you can't use water in them, or the paint breaks apart. You got to use their own special liquefier. It's like a
It's alcohol based, isn't it?
or something like that. Where if you use actual water, the shit just breaks apart and it'll just turn to like a mess on your palette.
Yeah.
Just kind of distasteful in terms of what you want for paint.
Well, what's cool is it says here that it can be mixed together and it can be diluted with their medium. So I'm taking it that using water will not work for it very well.
Yeah, it's diluted with their medium. That's that special. I don't want to say wash because we already know what washes is for miniatures, but it's that special compound that they have that works with their paint. And yeah, it's not the wash though, but it's. I know what you mean there. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because traditionally from the time when I was a young lad painting miniatures, it was always just you throw a little water in there, you make your own wash.
Oh yeah.
So they charge $30 a bottle for it.
Oh, and speaking of which, Vallejo has announced one thing about their washes. They may have perfected it, Card Bro. Because according to this, the sepia and black washes are available in 200 milliliter wide mouth bottles.
Ooh, really?
So it allows you to quick wash or shade by dipping the figures into the container. And I am a fan of the dipping method.
Oh, yes.
So here's the important part about all this. I'm trying to find the little frog chick I found up. All right, here's the man at least. So put my level a little bit here. Oops, that's not what I wanted. So only a fool deals in only one kind of paint. All right, you want to use all kinds of paints to make your miniatures. And for a while, Citadel did rule supreme for all the things. This here is all Army Painter paints right here. And working with them, it was like using Citadel paints completely. So
shout out to Army Painter, by the way. Awesome.
Yeah. Now some paints here. Now this is all Army Painter right here. Now Vallejo, I did a little frog chick in Vallejo, and as you can tell, they are more or less surpassing what Citadel had for their paints. So come on, there you go.
Look at that! Wow,
So the thing is both these companies are cheaper than Citadel for the most part, and have better quality paints. Now, the only thing that Citadel still rules the roost in is known oil, Agrax, Earthshade, all those things in your death. Now, if Vallejo has finally perfected their washes, both Army Painter and Vallejo are going to put Citadel in the dirt, because Citadel is now so expensive. There's still these fucking pop tops. So those little pop pots, they dry out, they ruin the paint. You got to re-liquefy them. I mean, and they charge you out it was $9 for a bottle of shade, when a little dropper bottle of the Army Painter shade costs like $4. And this has been a constant thing in the miniature painting world, is Citadel had the best washes. It's why you use them. But now, if you're finally getting past all that shit, and I can't wait, because I am tired of buying Games Workshop shit. Because all they do is pull out their little meat hook and pull every fucking scent out of your body till your soul's like, please just release me. Because they have the best. It is what it is. They had the best.
Did we just find out that God Bro is a scaly, by the way?
I am going to
scalies, the clammies.
I am going to push a friend of mine's paint line as well. because I love this stuff. But if you have not tried Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl, yeah, Monument Hobbies is really good stuff. Yeah, look at the size of the bottle. I mean,
Nice.
if you really want to compare, let me see. Here's a
Small hands.
No, I don't have small hands. See, look, that's a war paint right there,
Focus camera.
right by it, and let me see. Here's some Citadel, and that's the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the big bottle.
Those pots will cost you a fucking pretty penny.
Yeah, they will.
But,
There's a small company replicating the old Citadel paints from way back in the day.
Goblin Green.
Yeah, Goblin Green and things like that. And
I love those.
Yeah, I did get some, and they do have that same flow that's missing from the newer stuff. So.
But it's one of those things where, like, I want to point out that, like, I before I started writing books, I used to review models and do like live stream painting. And
this is an original, guys.
There you go.
This is an original.
Pop tops.
It's the same one I bought way back, and it still works, and it's still really beautiful.
And I've spent.
This was back when the shit was good.
Shit, $1,000 on paint, and I've had where's the little fucker at? Hold on, here he is. I've had this little bottle of Flesh Wash from Army Painter right here for like 3 years, and it's still liquid. I bought a pot of Carillion White or some shit. It's like, oh god, I just need paint for this fucking one project. Fresh new pop top, popped it open, fucking dry. I was like, god, like it's just there's always an issue with the Citadel, and it's those damn fucking pots they use.
I hate those tops.
Like, does the guy who have those pots have like blackmail on fucking Citadel or some shit? Like, I know about your swingers club. Use my pots, you little motherfuckers. Like, what? Why do you use these? They're awful. Why do you use these?
And let me tell you something else too. As bad as the new pots are, the old ones have a problem. I have original Space Marine paints from way back in the day that had the white plastic tops.
They were screwed up.
Those things would become brittle and crack apart.
Yeah.
And
I
then
still
dry
have
your
a
paint
bunch
out.
of those old paints from that. Well, that's the old Warhammer days from the.
Yeah.
I think I still have some from like the 80s or 90s.
Hey, dude, I still have I still have a single bottle of Ral Partha Brown.
Oh yeah, I have some Ralpartha stuff too downstairs.
Uh-huh.
You know what? I need to throw that stuff out because it's no good anymore.
So I think my oldest paint is this Vallejo Game Color Hex Lichen. I think this.
Oh, that's a good color. I like that color.
Great purple. I think it's about 6 years old. If you notice,
still good.
It's still liquid, but it's just it's a simple thing. You have a little cap here, right? And when you screw it down onto a plastic, it creates a seal where air cannot get in, and it's magical. Look, it's glistening. Wow. While they think, hey, we have a pot with a lid on it. That way, when it dry out, they gotta buy more paint. Like, you're a genius. It's just, it's so
brilliant.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and see, that's another thing that I like about the new Vallejo paint pots is they have that seal, so that should help it keep even better, last even longer. Mind you, I've had a lot of paints. Back when I first got back into miniature painting, I bought lots and lots of paint from lots of different companies because I didn't know what was good anymore. Yeah. All I knew was that Citadel was fucking expensive, and I was tired of paying those prices. So I looked at all the other companies and bought lots of different paint from lots of different sources. And for the most part, they've all held up real well. And here locally, about 2.5 hours from me, I could always drive down to Dallas and go to Reaper and buy some Reaper paint, which is good stuff too.
Friend of mine used to paint all his miniatures using the tiny little Humbrol pots.
Oh, I remember those. That's
because he knew them from doing Airfix models and things. So that's what he knew. So he used them on his miniatures, and it really gave him a kind of grounded, gritty sort of look.
My
friend of mine would.
miniatures were that way. Go ahead.
No, a friend of mine used to paint his 40k figures with nail polish, and I wanted to beat the shit out of him because those things were I used to live in this really rich town, but I wasn't rich, but all my friends were, so they could like afford all that stuff, and I couldn't, and I was always jealous. So it was like just I don't know, just horrible to see like this guy just buy these 40k figures that I couldn't have, and then just like put nail polish on them. I just wanted to like stab him.
Yeah, I need to start doing some more miniature painting streams because I haven't done one in a long time, and I miss it. I need to get back to it.
I've still got the bag of minis here. I need to get to painting, so that might be something worth doing.
Yeah, I mean, okay, who on this panel right now does not paint miniatures?
Nerd.
You don't?
Massively
You don't
out of
know
practice.
Me.
Ash, you don't either?
I have some. They've been sitting in a pile for over a year, and I'm pretty sure the paint's probably dried out.
Well, it's okay. We could teach you how to do it.
I don't paint any monsters. I feel like that's just a waste of time because they're not on the table for that long. I just paint the PCs and NPCs.
That still counts.
I'll paint
I
her
do,
one day.
and I'm the
Okay.
opposite. I do more monsters because as a GM, that's all I do is I push monsters out onto the table, and you want to have that visual part of the game, and it's so important. So for me, it's all about great base coat, then painting from the top up, and it's so hard to get the time to do it because if you really want to do a good job, you have to take a couple hours per miniature, depending on the size of the monster. And there's some really cool demons and devils that have been released lately that every time I see them in my store, because I keep them in my cart to see if they go on sale, and I go, oh, I want that Iglos. Oh, I mean, so it's all the demons like Asmodeus, and it would be really cool to have that. And then I realized, wait, the party that I was running is 5th level. Maybe demon lords and devil lords are probably not a good thing to be painting in front of them, right?
Yeah. Well, see, I'm very descriptive with everything that I do in my DMing. So, like, I have an awesome description for any creature or monster that the characters like encounter, and that gets them sucked in. But then afterward, I feel like when I just plop a little miniature on the table, it kind of like ruins that. Like, I have this grand experience. Then I'm like, boop. Here's a little
And
mini.
then it's gone.
There's that.
I spent weeks on a mind flare for my team before this new group, and they were around 10th level, 8th, 9th, 10th level, and I spent literally weeks, an hour here, an hour there, doing a mind flare, the shimmering robes and the purple skin, and then I plopped him on the table, and he lasted, I think, maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And I went,
all right.
Great, I spent weeks on that.
I don't get to play in real life, so I just find cool pictures on Google and make cool tokens out of them and plop them on Roll20. That's all I do.
I did get something from one of our viewers. Hang on, Parrothead. Thank you very much for this. This is kind of like something relating to what we were just talking about.
Oh, hail, Parrothead. Good to see you.
Yeah. Okay. So Square Enix trademark hints at Parasite Eve remake. So this was 5 days ago.
Nice.
That's not the one I'm looking for, though.
Well, like I was saying though, they just have to renew the trademark every so often, otherwise they lose it, and it could just be that they were looking to just do that.
That is a really slow news day, probably. Like I got to read about something. This will work.
Well, see, that's the thing. Apparently, they filed a trademark for symbiogenesis, which was made public just recently, and symbiogenesis is known as endosymbiotic theory, which is when two organisms merge into one, which is the basis of the Parasite Eve novel. So that's why we think there might be a new Parasite Eve coming up.
That could be awesome.
Gungrave Gore is out next month.
But I am waiting on Xenogears. I want them to remake Xenogears, the original, and actually flesh out the whole story and not have it be truncated. None of you guys have played Xenogears.
I haven't in a long time.
What do you mean?
Well, so Xenogears has this huge, like, really freaking awesome storyline. And like 80% of the game is on disc 1. And then they ran out of time and money. So basically, disc 2 is almost like a slideshow. Like you still kind of interact with the game, but it's like they just kind of lead you by a string through the rest of like a summary of the rest of the storyline, and it's very disappointing because like the first disc is like really in depth and has like amazing shit going on. You get to the second disc and it's like you can tell they just dropped the ball. I'd like them to flesh that out completely and like have it be like a full game.
Speaking of discs, I had Parasite Eve 2, but there was something wrong with my disc, and it would always arrow out at like a certain spot, so I could never like finish the game. And it was really disappointing because I love that. I think 2 is better than the first one, or at least I thought so back then.
No, Parasite,
but, yeah.
Parasite Eve 2 is awesome. It's got that weird like desert like feeling.
Yeah,
to
Texas town. Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm a PS1 nerd. I have like
I liked it.
Ton of RPGs for PS1 and like games. I'm like super into it. Oh shit!
Yeah.
What do you got there? Show it off.
Yeah, what do you got there? And yes, but thank you anyway, Paraded. I do appreciate you bringing it up because we were talking about it.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got.
There you go. You have the screen.
Froze.
He froze.
It glitched.
It's frozen fear.
That is quite the screen to freeze on. That
there we go.
Oh, look at that game.
Oh, I remember that game.
Oh, Martian Gothic. Yeah.
Infamously bad voice acting.
Yep.
What else you got?
Like I actually have like a whole I have a few stacks of games. Like my
wow.
PS1 stuff is right there.
Well, come on. Let's see what we got there. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's another series I wish they would redo. I love Siphon Filter.
I remember when I was in the Bixby Bixby, Oklahoma grocery store, and they had a small rental shop for video games, and this thing was always out because it was like all there was to play was Siphon Filter.
It was good. It was a good game.
Yeah, it's a super common game. It's good though. Yeah, Rebel Assault 2.
Rebel Assault 2. Oh no.
No.
Cost me a whole $5.
Ooh boy.
$5.
$5.
They should have paid you to take it from them at that point. Jesus.
You had to go through these little
Darkstone. Yeah.
Diablo that never was.
Discount Diablo.
Style.
Discount Diablo. That's right. Look deep inside yourself. Is there a dragon slayer within?
Nope.
Yes.
By the way, you can pick this up on GOG.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Version.
I'm really starting to like GOG.
Magog for terrible old games.
There we go. That's it.
I remember that one. The 108 Warriors.
Shit, dude.
Yeah. Close time we get to a copy of Suikoden 2.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that like a European version? Like
no, this is the North American.
Yeah, this is the North American one.
The North American version came in a big double-sized case.
Not mine.
You guys must have some kind of weird like re-release that's like super rare.
No, I had the original.
Yeah, more research required because I think that's an uncommon variant.
I'll have to look back at my stuff.
Was there or was there not a Dynasty Warriors on PlayStation? I forget.
Yes, there was.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
It was fun too. It was a fighting game. Yeah, it's one of my favorite games.
Okay, I don't know much about that game. That game
Top
looks
Gun
like
Fire at Will.
Yeah.
Budget bin.
$1. Please pay me $1 for this. I beg you.
This poor guy Will gets shot at all the time.
I think that's what I paid for it too.
Ace Combat, though, on the other hand, was fucking amazing.
Just for the butt-kicking, G-pulling, bogey-bashing thrill of it. Oh, good.
All right.
Oh, look, it has like live-action stuff.
Remember the best live-action was Command and Conquer live-action.
Yeah, that was the game. It had Kane.
Yeah,
it had the one guy who looked just like Venture Satanas.
Yeah.
He's exactly him, like in every way.
He's been asked if he actually was that guy before.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm gonna show off a little bit of swag myself because I got a little bit of swag too.
Swag.
I love
there we go.
There we go.
Star
there
Wars
it is.
game.
Dark Force.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
That's a shit.
Man up.
Yep.
Actually, you were asking about this.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yes.
I got that one. I have that.
Awesome.
So I should put out. This is actually a reproduction case, but this is the game.
Yeah, I have the original.
That's probably the best RPG they ever made.
Yeah,
until you get to disc 2, and then they fuck it up.
Like, see what I'm saying? It's like these companies they start strong, and then it's like the second half is like, we ran out of money.
No, it's like the same thing
they
happened
re-
with like Evangelion. You know, they got to like the end of the series and they ran out of money. So what did they do?
Re-release cover there.
They literally rest on their laurels is all they do. Like, oh, we made it cool. We can just coast now, right? And they think they can just like literally just ride the rails to victory. And you gotta keep putting out the same kind of
games.
effort.
See, I don't have any of these games because what I did was I have what's called the X Station. So what the X Station is, it's a mod for PlayStation 1. It's an optical drive emulator. So you basically take out the optical drive, you put in the X Station, you can read the games off of a SD card. So I have all the games I want on an SD card, like fast loading times, like no fuss, no muss.
You gotta try this one out because this is a game that was made to be a sequel to the Matthew Broderick film War Games. Where you're fighting a bunch of like computer bunch of what was it AI, like basically cybernet like they're basically rising up, and this was one of the games I played a lot as a kid growing up. This one holds a special place for me.
Oh, and there's Filter too, yeah.
Like, look, I just want to make sure I have some of these in my collection.
You actually own that fucking thing? Jesus.
Ew.
I remember that was like it was like the they thought, what about Star Wars and what was it called? The game where
Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal, thank you. Yeah. Like, why not Star Wars and Twisted Metal? It's literally what their mindset was for that game. It was an absolute mess.
And Time Commando. I remember that one. Not a good one.
I've heard of Time Commando, never played Time Commando.
Yeah.
I've heard about it. I've heard about it, never actually played it.
Yeah.
Time is your weapon. History is your battlefield.
Here's my swag for the week.
Swag.
Yeah.
Swag.
My swag. I got Easy D6. This one was recommended by Justina Revolution. Of course, I'm a snob. I got it. I got it POD. And wow, the artwork is really nice. It's a DM Scotty game, I believe, and it's real simple. I think just like this much of it is how to play, like right up here. I don't know, or maybe it's the other one I'm thinking about. Yeah, it's the other one I'm thinking about. But it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward as a game goes. It's easy to pick up. It's all D6 based for the most part. No, not D20, which kind of harkens to the Japanese style of things. And it has some really, really cool enemies in it. The monsters section is very much not like your typical fantasy monsters. I mean, yeah, you got your dragons and Medusas and all that garbage, but then you have weird stuff like festoids and Drex, and
that's just a squig.
Yeah, and Gorgwars and Grubbers, and it's just cool, man. Murdrath. I mean, geez.
Tax collectors.
I mean, this thing is horrible. I don't know what that is.
Oh, there's a white enemy.
Has a lot of treasure that I've never seen either. I'm looking forward to trying it and seeing what I really think about it, but I think it's pretty cool, just overall. And I got this behemoth, which actually is not a behemoth. A lot of people like this, and this is the Master Edition, so it's the big one. But I think... Let's see. This right here is all you need to play the game. And it lets you play any setting or anything. And it's, I believe it's also like D6, D20 based.
We should use it to play Synth City.
You could.
What?
You could.
SimCity?
Synth City. Your
Oh,
game.
No, just use my system. I've
Yeah.
really worked hard on that. I spent the whole week on that so far.
Yeah. The rest of this is all like critters and different worlds that they have already built in that you could play in, which is actually really impressive. And it also has a couple of adventures. It's got lots of NPCs. It's basically got 2 or 3 campaigns built into the book. So it's one of those systems that kind of is like everything to everything because it's mix and match. And one thing it really does have a lot of is it has a lot of really cool tables. I mean, like this is where the tables start, and it's just like tables upon tables upon tables upon tables upon tables of cool stuff. So even if you didn't use this stuff, even if you didn't play this game, you could always just take this part to print out just the table system and generate some really cool new loot, original loot for your characters in other games.
OC do not steal.
But I like it.
And then
And then this-
show off SimCity real quick once you're done.
I want Grim to get a copy of this. I want Grim to get this and do an evaluation on this so bad.
Okay.
Because this is pretty much an homage to the old fighting fantasy stuff. It's rules light. It's casting spells is stamina based. It uses the luck score just like the old games. The artwork is very Blanche, John Blanche reminiscent.
Yeah.
And there's some homage painting pictures in here too. If I can run across them. Yeah, it's got some very original characters. Actually, what's kind of cool is it has a career system like Warhammer, but the gameplay is closer to fighting fantasy. Everybody can cast spells, but magician apprentices do it better. This is an homage picture. This is Zarak, the half-orc assassin from the old D&D mini figures, the toy figures.
Yeah.
I
Where did you buy it
recognized
from,
him.
then?
I bought this from. This is available up on DTRPG. If you buy the hard copy, the POD is only like $20, I think. So it's very cheap. It's not a super thick book, but it's very nice. I like their layout. I have to thank Questing Beast for actually letting me know about this because I didn't know about it.
I've seen this book sitting up at my local game shop for a while now, and I've always kind of... Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the other game.
Oh, D6? Yeah.
Yeah.
This character is from Darkest Dungeon. It has a good critical system. It's got his cool... This is Kelek from the D&D miniatures right here, if you didn't know. And I believe... Yeah, and that's the female cleric from the same thing. And I believe that's Ringle Run. So it's like... Whoever did this really had a... they really had a love for the old D&D stuff, but they also had a real love for the original fighting fantasy stuff. I mean, look at this is almost a John Blanche right here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I want Grim to check this out someday and give his evaluation and see what he thinks about it. And I'm wanting to play it myself because I think it will be a lot of fun. It's got some basic world building rules, and it feels very much like kind of like a fantasy medieval Europe. I mean, it just oozes with nostalgia, I guess. So definitely one I would recommend.
So I have 3 more stacks of games.
No, do you?
No, you can beat those.
It's back. Paul.
Can we save them? Can we save them for another time?
I know for a fact you got that goddamn Crash Bandicoot. Hell yeah, motherfucker.
Oh God, bloody roar! I love bloody roar. Can we save him, Ironcaster, for another time?
Yeah, we can save them.
Okay.
I can show off real quick what I have so far with Sin City if you guys want.
Yeah, I do.
For the week.
I do want to see it.
So this is obviously a work in progress. So don't yeah. It's my OSR Cyberpunk game I've been working on all week. Don't have the numbers because I don't know where the pages are gonna go yet. Got a bunch of basic expert art that allowed me to use.
Nice.
So it's for the most part standard OSR, though I added a skill system, kind of like Star Adventure stuff like that.
Yeah.
So these are the bases: human, synthetic, so kind of like replicants from Blade Runner, cyborg, so you can be Atom Smasher.
Are those stock art pieces?
No, these are also basic expert pieces.
Oh, nice.
You mean
nice.
Rebecca Smasher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And spliced, which are kind of you can be like something like this is a weird dude with lizard skin, or you can be a full on furry. It's up to you. These are like a variant human that are like genetically engineered by the corporations to be the perfect employee.
Nice.
That page is in the wrong place. I'll have to move that.
Are you going to include a setting with this?
Oh yeah. It's going to be very basic because I want people to ultimately make their own. But if they're lazy, they can use mine. It's going to be like European cyberpunk. It's basically going to be like a mega city that like covers like most of Western Europe.
Cool.
Another basic expert piece here. Classes over there. That's some stock art there. And it's very, I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. It's very, like 80s, almost.
I like it.
That's
looks like he's
stuff,
got a toupee on.
Yeah. What's sorry?
Like
it's
that
like
previous
LPJ
piece.
design stuff.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I've got
You always get that. You could get that T-shirted historian guy to work on this too. He
well, I asked you a couple days ago, but you never answered. This is like you get like a main class, and then there's like each one has like 3 subclasses basically. So you can be an agent, but you can be a fixer, a ninja, so assassin type, or a spy. This is like the hacker or the doctor or like the vehicle specialist. This is if you want to be Atom Smasher, basically. The heavy. Investigator. Can be a civilian. So, yeah, skill system. Leveling. I went with... so I gave everyone the same progression table because... progression is more based on like raising your skills and getting like cybernetics and all that stuff rather than like the way old school OSR actually does it. I've got a humanity system. I call it corpus points, and corpus is kind of like Latin for like body and mind, combined.
I like it.
So basically, if you have too much cyberware, you have to roll on these like 2 random tables. You can either get a mental affliction or a physical affliction, depending. Some more stock art. Very simple hacking rules. Another basic expert piece is actually his face. He told me. It's weapon tables which aren't quite finished yet, but
cool.
Have you come up with a list of like corporation names?
I have some from like an old like setting that I was gonna do, so I'm just gonna use those. But I have like a bunch. I have one called DEFCOM, which is Defense Readiness Corporation. It's kind of like Militech, like from Cyberpunk. I've got one called Detroit Cybertronics, which is obviously a RoboCop reference.
Call it DCP.
DCP.
Yep. There's the armor system, different armors.
Are you going with DR?
No. Base system is just regular old, AC. But then I have an optional system where different weapons affect different armors differently. So, like, a pistol is going to have a harder time going through power armor than it does to, like, Kevlar, And then armor can also be damaged. There's also an optional system. So, yeah, this is, like, penetration rating. So, penetration rating 4 weapon will go to, like, you basically, if you're wearing no armor and you get shot with a penetration 4 weapon, so that's like a railgun, you have, like, a -4 to AC. because it just you're just gonna get messed up.
I'm gonna have to go.
Laters.
I've ordered Warlock, and boy, do I miss having a strong currency.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
How bad was it?
I
Did
know-
you?
It's practically parity after shipping and exchange rates and how they rip you off and everything. So yeah,
You get the POD?
it sucks. Yes. So I won't get that for quite a while, but yeah, it's on the way. Anyway, I gotta go. Nice
Laters.
hanging out.
I'll see you, Graham.
See you later.
Take care, mate.
Toodles.
Later.
I started on the list of cybernetics. I need to finish that still, but you've got head augmentation, so you can get like different levels of cyber eyes, different levels of like hearing implants, stuff like that. I've got cyber arms, cyber legs. See,
I need those.
and then you can have like a cyber arm with a built-in pistol, or a built-in assault rifle, or a built-in grappling hand. So basically, you shoot your hand out on like 100-foot wire, and it grabs the ledge, and you just pull yourself up.
An
Finger
LMG
blades, like
cyber arm.
multi-millions. Yeah.
I want the
Power
grapple
fist.
arm.
You can have a chainsaw arm.
I would go for the chainsaw.
So yeah,
I
just
want the
stuff like
grapple
that.
arm for like grabbing cokes across the room.
There you go. Speaking of chainsaws, has anybody been watching Chainsaw Man?
Not yet. I need to.
Yeah, well, there's only 3 episodes out right now, so
Yeah.
I
Speaking
plan
of
on watching it.
corporations, yes, like 2.
Oh,
What is
I love
Ash?
it.
Just
I wanna
saying,
see
I'm
that tech-
I'm planning on watching Chainsaw Man.
oh, okay, you should.
That Tiger Shark car brings me back to like the one I had as a Hot Wheels as a kid.
Yeah. I had to come up with some name, and I figured like those are fitting. I love this picture.
I do too.
And then some various optional rules and stuff like that for like multi attacks and whatnot. And then I need to like finish a bunch of the chapters. I need to add a setting, but I think this is pretty good for like a week's work.
Yeah. I wish I had this energy to put this much work into a week.
Yeah.
Well, you see, the secret's cocaine.
Yeah, that
Adderall.
and just not sleeping.
Yeah, that not sleeping part, that'll do it for sure.
By the power of Schedule 1 drugs, I am fucking working out my mind.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm hoping people will like it, and I'm hoping they'll realize, it's a one-man project that I spent a couple weeks on, so, don't be too harsh. But
Well, that's really cool, but why don't we just play Cyberpunk?
I mean, you could. But,
Or
I can't believe that guy did that to you.
yeah. There's been a bunch of comments like that on Facebook where like people are just like very dismissive or just like randomly shitty. But I think that's just the nature of the. That's like one of the reasons that I haven't advertised on Reddit, and everyone tells me that I should because it'll get me probably more people. But
No, don't advertise on Reddit.
yeah, Reddit's just so horrible. They'll just like hate everything, and I don't think I
shit.
can handle that. I'm too sensitive. Like they'll just tear it apart, and I'll just be depressed. And fuck that.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's not worth the money.
I have like
Well,
I have
you see,
super unique shit. Like my Asterisk campaign is like the only sword and sorcery fucking campaign for 5th edition that there is. And I tried to advertise it on Reddit. I got downvoted to 0. It's like,
Yeah,
no, fuck you guys.
yeah, they just hate everything.
Oh, I bought it.
well, the
Oh,
thing
have
is
you got it yet?
Well, the problem is that humans are awful, so it's just
They are.
your first hurdle. Yeah, this is what it is. I mean, there are crab buckets everywhere. If you get even close to them, they'll fucking drag you in.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But it's
we
like-
support
why-
diaries.
It's dawned on me kind of something how it's like everyone this week seems to be getting shit on for their stuff. I'm like, OGGM just got like shit on Facebook for something. You've been getting some shit, Victor, and Guard. I mean, you were showing me like yesterday.
So first, I'm banned off Twitter, or I got locked on Twitter for calling that a cunt. Apparently, it's frowned upon. But
How long ago was this?
yesterday.
Yesterday? Oh, don't worry. Big Daddy Elon will probably let you out of jail.
But more or less, there are community projects on TG that were never really being, pushed out there. So what we're doing is it's called Gas Station, or it's called like The Station After Hours, whatever the hell it is. It's not really a game book. It's simply a giant compendium of tables where you can make a game by rolling a D20 or D100 and all that. and we're more or less, I'm writing in a whole bunch of original characters, original duties or events and all that. And apparently the guys who are making the game book for the same-ish kind of system were all getting all they're stealing it from us, man. You can't take it. It's like snooze you lose, motherfuckers. Like if there's a thing that exists and someone goes, you know what, I want to make this bigger, better, and make it a proper book, and they do that, you can't be a bunch of little whiny little fucks. Like this thing's been around for like 4 years. Like if none of you went, maybe I should capitalize on this really cool idea, and you wait 4 years, and some of the guy goes, you know what, I'm gonna get it done. Like Nick Beardia, who I work with, James, like, you know what, let's get this shit done. So like in half a month, we had all the tables drawn up. We did the Kickstarter. Like the Kickstarter's got $8,000 on it. Like, let's see here.
I've got it up.
Sure? Okay.
The Neckbedia showed me his World War One game. He's on the Gilded server that I'm also on, and his World War One game looks really cool.
Yeah. So I mean, the man's out there making games, and I'm helping. I'm just writing shit, like because my own game's going on Kickstarter in January. And the thing is like, you got to put the work in there, and people who value their time and their work doing something, they might want to get paid for that shit. Now here's the thing that's blowing my mind, right? Yeah, the gas station after hours. So James went in. He asked for like $200. He had like a whole custom game map made in color, day and nighttime, grid, no grid, custom characters, custom events that are all big, blocky, nice, fitful texts. And he's basing this idea off of these videos in green text, more or less. Now, here's the thing, though. We're making this, right? And on TG, there's another one that's kind of like this half-made game book. There's no thing stopping people from going, you know what? I'm going to use the free thing. There's nothing stopping people going, you know what? I want to play the free thing instead. What they want to do is they want to tear down the competition. They're acting like Twitter, more or less. Like, hey, that's kind of like our idea, and if you're successful, then we will be successful. So they got attack and tear down, and I was more or less shit posting for like 2 hours on that fucking thread, mind you. But it's just people like they didn't understand that sometimes. Like I was going, I like it. I like this idea. I'll put my take on it. Like, you think Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder's original? No. All right, give me a break. It's all our own little spin on a well-known or known topic. This is a gas station where weird shit happens. Probably by 2042, there's gonna be 16 games like this variety, like the supermarket or the gas station. There's nothing original. What he's doing is, like if you scroll down, all these tables. These are all the tables we're making, like bathroom events, cursed items, store phone calls, car wash events, forecourt, bush events, customer table, major, minor, and like middle events things. And I can tell you right now, because I'm currently writing the shit right now. The minor event section, scrolly, is, let's see here. I gotta go to it. Customers. So there's a lot of tables here. There's a customer table
46 to 52.
Yeah, so like the customers, there are 100 detailed, unique customers in the book. 100 customers. Nice. Minor events, there are over 100 minor and major events, all custom made. They're all, some are short, like crows show up. Like, okay. Some are like some ones I write are literally a small paragraph that you can use to make the game. Now, this whole thing here, there's no system to it. There's no here's how you play it or whatever. It's simply, hey, here's how you can get a game going just off this. For playing a game, it says this source is meant to be used as a diving board to create a game based around the setting. Players take on the role of a minimum wage employee working in a gas station. They try and go through the usual day-to-day activities while contending with the abnormal, supernatural, and downright dangerous things. This game is meant to be completely open-ended and allow for pure exploration. Your GM, general manager, will be leading down paths of oddity and horror as they see fit. One may embark on a journey completely at random, using the dice roll tables or pick and choose the story threads. You can attach this to any fucking system, D&D or one D&D gas station, and you can go, okay, events and customers, and that's all there is. It's simply a way to get your mind jogging and bogging and working through what you need. And and they're all sandbagging him on TG and shit, and they're all being petty on Twitter, which is how I got put in the can on Twitter. Because sometimes people just act like a cunt. You just gotta call them a cunt. You just have to. It's what it is. And they want to act all mad. They're only mad because this is successful.
Oh dear, I seem to have spotted a cunt.
Yeah. Yeah. It's stuff only matters when success happens. That's what really blows my mind, Like, no one cared until he put on the mask and made money doing it. You know what I mean? If the Gas Used After Hours had never had a Kickstarter, he put it out for free on a PDF, no one fucking cared. But he goes, you know what? I'm putting time, and I got writers on this. I'm making a custom map. And what he's doing is when you buy the physical game, this is a poster. He's having a huge poster made. So when you put the map on the tabletop, that's your playing mat. It's this giant fucking poster. You guys can put your tokens on or whatever else on there.
Ooh.
So he's putting a lot of effort into this, and people are just going to sandbag him. Like, talk about how, why don't you just play Cyberpunk? Some folks want to make their own shit. Yeah, you could just play Cyberpunk, or you could play this original thing that's kind of like it, but a little different. It's the same way, I don't think I'm spoiling anything right now, but we're making a Burger Punk setting with and I mean,
James Soda let the cat out of the bag on that one. Yes, yesterday.
So, yes, you could play Cyberpunk, or you can play Cyberpunk with a twist. You can play Burger Punk. You can play the punk game he's making, Sim
City.
Thank you, Sim City. Which, it's more or less the same thing. You have your elements that all kind of stick to the same kind of, ball of wax we all kind of pick our things from, but it's got a new twist on it. It's refreshing, it's just different enough to break the monotony of what it is. It's why folks will bounce between Pathfinder and D&D, because they're just different enough to where you won't get bored. No.
Well, since my game is OSR, you can literally combine it with a classic OSR game and create Shadowrun. I literally mentioned that in the introduction. It's you can do something another well-known game that's out there. I literally say, but you can put in orcs and stuff, and you've got Shadowrun in OSR in your own little OSR setting.
Well, but see, the thing is, the nice thing about doing what you're doing with your game, Victor, is. A lot of people are comfortable with, they understand, and they like the OSR rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same with 5e.
Yeah, or even the 5e rules. And what your stuff allows them to do is to continue to use the rules that they're comfortable with and still add a spin on it that makes it kind of fresh and enjoyable. And that's what some of these short-sighted people don't understand. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, I can go buy this, little inexpensive, I don't want to say the word cheap, rule book from Scrying Dutchman, or I can go out and buy a $40 R. Talsorian Cyberpunk game, have to learn all the rules, and then I have to teach all my players how to play it. Yeah. So, and I'm not saying anything bad about Cyberpunk. Obviously, we love Cyberpunk here. We love our Talsorian games. We want Mike Pondsmith to come on here someday, damn it. But
one of these days.
One of these days.
By the way,
someday.
I'm launching the Kickstarter in 2 days, I think, the 1st of November. So keep an eye on everyone.
Nice.
And I might need God, bro. After seeing that 8K that they got for a thing that was 200, I might need you to help promote that shit.
Well,
you're gonna drop that link next week, right? When you open it up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You should do a launch stream.
But some folks just want to have the option, I am tired of playing D&D. What else do I have? I pull out a book. Fuck it. We'll this game is not like a campaign of campaigns of heroes where they campaign with heroes. It's like a Friday night, hey, y'all do something different. Gas station. It's just to help break up the monotony. Comparing this game to my game, his is far more fast. Mine's all crunchy with his own system and own lore and all that shit. That game's where my game's like a campaign game, and in Sin City's like a campaign game. It's all right there. This gas station thing, you put that in any game. You can hey, what if Torg the Orc and Galadriel the Elf of Doom and Time went to a gas station and had a fucking shift they had to do? You can pull a book out and splat. You could make all these events happen. You can put in your own D&D 5e monsters if you really wanted to. Nothing's stopping you.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how people will get so jaded and shit because like just because they're too slow. Like that's really kind of boggles my mind. Like, well, why are you doing this? It's not fair. It's been 4 years probably. Like it's like what's stopping you? And the fact is like they're just lazy. These people are just lazy. Like, well, we could just play Cyberpunk, or you could like make your own game with your own setting, your own stories. Tell a story you want to tell, and give the ability to let other players play in that story. And they just don't get that. You know, yeah, we all just could play D&D 4th edition from time in memoriam, but eventually you're going to get a bit tired of that shit. That's where. Like it's just different enough comes in. Like
Caster, what are you doing?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize it was being picked up. I was opening up a little coin from like Q Workshop.
He's opening up caramel squares. Like
that's what it sounded like. I thought he was unwrapping a caramel or something. I'm like, damn, dude.
Like real quick, Victor, why are you making your game? You're making your game because why?
I want to make it a career and I want to make money. No, because I want to be creative. I want to get something out there, and if people buy it, they buy it, and if they don't, they don't. It's fine. Like I know that stuff already is out there. That like it's the same thing. You could say that like why play my 5e game if you can just play D20 Modern? But like I don't know, some people just like 5e, like T-shirt set, and they want to just like get this thing and they slap it onto their core books, and it's like okay, it's Waterdeep, but it's the 21st century and there's skyscrapers. Okay, go wild.
Yeah.
Go
wild.
And the more or less, you pay a very small fee. Like I think this was like $7 or some shit, where it help you expand your gameplay. Like man, I don't know what the fuck to do. You go splat, ruffle. That sounds pretty cool, and it helps you jumpstart your brain and make a whole new thing to players to enjoy. That and there are people who just don't want to play shit made by corporations, is what it is. Like there are guys who hate DD5V because they just hate the people who make it. That's the only reason why they hate it. Like I fucking hate Wizards of the Coast, and they refuse to play the game. And at the same time, there are people who like I want to support indie developers. They will be on like the ground floor of this new thing. Like you know what? This sounds fun. It's new. I want to back it. If they never play a single minute of it, they just want to help people who are just under the thumb of big.
Yeah.
RPG, I guess what we call it. There's
big gamers,
big pharma, big government, and big gamers. I guess what the thing is.
I guess so.
I'm gonna have to get that gas station thing because I have like this whole idea now of combining it with one of my modern, probably the 5e modern, and having the players be like gang members that are going to warp the gas station, and then weird shit starts happening to them, kind of like a horror movie where they get like caught in like yeah.
Yeah, so that's the best thing is that this book you can slip it into anything, and just make that one day a little bit more different.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, we're 2 hours up. Can we bring it to a close or?
I dropped the link to the gas station RPG in the chat and in the private for you, Victor. So
nice.
Yeah. Cool.
Nice.
Nice. It looks fun though. And Victor's game, I'm really excited about. I want to buy it. I want to hand you money, Victor. But more importantly, I want to hand you some art first. So I will see about doing some work with that.
That reminds me real quick. Kickstarter got back to me, and it turns out that what I was doing originally was completely fine anyway. And with the print on demand, they just got they thought I was doing something different, I guess. So I just changed it all back to like the whole print on demand setup. So yeah. And if they complain, I'm just going to show them the email that I got. It's like, well, you literally told me it was fine, so shut up.
I'm glad, dude. I really am. Anyway, I wish you much success, and of course, when it does finally pop open, we're definitely going to shill for you here because we support our friends and and we like independent games. So
I agree. They're always better. Always will be.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Well, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of heart, there's a lot of soul in stuff like that, and that's also why we support Greg over at Diaries because we love his stuff too. And
Greg, I suggest an full retro game episode, beginning to end.
I think that would be awesome. We might be able to do that next week.
Arcade, NES, Game Boy, Atari, Genesis, whatever.
The Dreamcast. First Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't emulate any of that stuff. But I do have all the original consoles still sitting in my closet, along with all the original games.
Why can't you emulate it?
Because I don't have emulators.
Well, I can help you.
Okay, I'm kind of scared to use those things, man. I'm always afraid that I'm gonna download something, and it's gonna, eat my computer alive. And
God, oh my God.
Also, T-shirt, if you want to get like some cool vendors together, and you don't charge me out of the ass, I'll gladly put some of your art in my book.
Give me.
Why would I charge you out of the ass, Victor?
You
wouldn't do
never
that to you.
know. Some artists are like, okay, that'll be 300. I'm like, but it's just a
No.
black and white, like 1-inch picture. Like, yeah, but
No.
You're just
time is
describing
money.
me. That's
But,
what
like,
I do.
You could have
Yeah.
red and we could play some retro games like red and blue. The red
Is
and
that
blue
the
glasses on.
3D glasses that came with Heart of Darkness?
Yes.
Oh,
Like, and they undercharged me for it too, like $25.
Yeah, that's strong.
all right. Well, anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with us here on. It's not really Halloween Eve because obviously tomorrow's Halloween Eve and Monday's Halloween, but
Halloween
is that right? Or
Eve.
but generally, if people are gonna celebrate and party, it's probably gonna be tonight. So
Yeah, I mean,
Halloween
Victor
Horror
has
Hearts.
Ernest. Was it Ernest Scared Stiff?
yeah,
Stupid.
scared
Ernest,
stiff,
that's stupid.
scared stupid.
Scared Scoop.
Yep.
Scared
Best
Stupid,
Halloween
that's what-
movie ever.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I love the Ernest movies. I'm so sad that Jim Varney died. He was so cool.
Hey, Vern.
Hey, Vern. Vern.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyway,
Take us out.
yeah, let's get out of here, guys. Like I said, my voice is dying on me. I'm coughing my ass off. So hopefully I'll be better next week.
That's
And,
the important bit.
yeah, gotta have that. But thank y'all for hanging out with me and having another fun week. And let's do it again next week, okay?
Do it again.
Talk to you later.
All right. And until then.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams. Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.